Hey Garm, can I put this there so I can hold hands too? Like I'm just gonna put it there like.
On the camera?
Yeah.
But okay.
Or when you're done.
I'll move right now. It's pretty big. Our freshman year wasn't that big.
Where's Mark?
No, it's not gonna work. Is it really? Depending on where Mark decides to go.
Okay, are we done with this? We're done with this, I'm gonna leave.
You're leaving?
I mean, leave this area. Make sure shit doesn't fly.
Hello and welcome all. Thank you for coming to the 6th annual United Hands Across Cal.
I want to make sure
Today is
nothing
the
flies.
International Day commemorating the Armenian Genocide.
Milan, skúšaj like go
Today we stand in solidarity with our peers, community members, and faculty against injustice, intolerance, and crimes against humanity. Before we get into the bulk of today's ceremony, I would like to tell you about a strange hobby of my father's. He is a collector of old A-index encyclopedias. If you like to learn about aardvarks, antelopes, or asparagus, he's probably the person to see. But the reason he collects these books is not for enjoyment, but for proof. Proof that history is slowly being erased. My father collects these books to show how, with each passing year, more and more facts of the Armenian genocide are omitted, distorted, or simply ignored. Whereas the Armenian genocide was once described as a crime against humanity, it is now described as an unfortunate event Armenians claim to have happened. Please come forward and join us in commemorating those who lost their lives through senseless acts of genocide. This week, the Armenian Student Association hosted its annual Genocide Awareness Week in order to educate the campus community about an event that took place thousands of miles away 94 years ago. This event seems like ancient history to most and unimportant to more. It resulted in 1.5 million deaths and the deportation of hundreds of thousands. Today, many grandchildren of those forced to leave stand amongst you here. One, in fact, addresses you now. This event, as you know, was the Armenian genocide. On this day, 94 years ago, the Turkish Ottoman Empire began in cold blood the first genocide of the 20th century. It resulted in the slaughter of 1.5 million Armenians. They separated families, butchered children, raped women, and eradicated half a nation's people. This event stunned the world as the news of the massacre was reported in all major newspapers. The world said never again. History closed the chapter on the events that took place in Armenia and moved forward. After all, what did an isolated event in a faraway country have to do with them anyway? Never again will this kind of barbarity exist. 94 years, dozens of genocides, and upwards to 100 million deaths later, we stand here today. Clearly something is wrong. In the 20th century, we made significant strides in gender, race, and religious equality. We globalized the world, landed on the moon, and Wikipediaized the world's knowledge. But yet, we still have not been able to achieve one basic need. We have not prioritized the right of every man, woman, and child to live free in a world void of genocide. The United States has been especially quiet on this issue. Most of us see something wrong with this, as we should. But we would be wrong to say America's policy towards genocide has been a failure. No, in fact, quite the opposite is true. Genocide scholar Samantha Power claims our policy on genocide has been successful. A success not because of action, but because of inaction. A success because our policy is designed to keep the politicians far from issues of genocide. A success because our policy is designed to keep the United States media far from these unsettling events. A success because our policy is designed to keep the military far from the perpetrators of this crime. The United States policy on genocide is a policy of inaction, and it's working quite well. When we hear this, we should be alarmed, and our conscience should tell us something is wrong. Yet we need not look far for people to blame. Yes, some are definitely more responsible than others, but ultimately, we are all responsible for allowing genocide to persist. Now, I'm not the over-optimistic, join the Facebook group and genocide will stop kind of person. I know the world will not rid itself of genocide tomorrow, but I say, why can't we, as individuals, decide today to actually make a change? I know we don't have the power to stop the perpetrators personally. No one here has the tools to stop genocide by him or herself. But you don't have to have that power to make a difference. While our parents and grandparents failed to stop genocide, they did manage to create the biggest tool to stop genocide. The tool I speak of is the United States. Today, on this April 24th, 94 years after Armenian genocide began, the United States has the power to make the promise of never again a reality. They say the first step on the road to recovery is acceptance of the problem. Today, we must accept we have a problem. We must accept that millions of innocent lives were destroyed over the course of the 20th century, and they did not have to be. We must accept we have made greater inroads in the luxuries of life